Women Radio 91.7 FM, the voice of women, Nigeria's first and only radio station for women and their families. And this is Herlens this morning, where we talk about different issues with the ladies of Herlens on Women Radio 91.7 FM. My name is Fumi Bangala, and right about now we have Buki Femi Ajala, who has joined us. Susan wouldn't be available. I'm just seeing her message now that she's at a conference. So you're stuck with me. I'm Buki Femi Ajala. Hopefully Binaba joins very, very shortly. But first, let's welcome her. Good morning, Buki. How are you?
Good morning. It's a raining day, and we want to thank God for that. Or is it not raining in your area?
It is, oh, it is.
This one that you're looking bright. Bright and good.
It is, oh, it's a rainy day.
Yes, good morning, Herlens family. How are we doing? Yes, we thank God for the rains. Yeah, the farmers will rejoice, and it might be a bit of a disturbance. Yes, because for those who do not have their own private cars to get to work, to get to business and things like that. But hey, it brings comfort, and the real fact that God is still good. He gives us rain. So once again, I want to say good morning, everybody. Yeah. I will still try to turn on my video, but I noticed the shaky. I just said, let me respect myself. Let me respect myself.
It's okay. It's okay. All right, let's get into it. I was just going through the stories for this morning, and I'm conflicted, but I think we should start on the case at the primary school in Nigeria, where a mother stormed the premises armed with a knife, allegedly destroying a teacher's phone, stabbing the teacher, and vandalizing parts of the school. Now, we know that parents are very, very protective of their children, and rightfully so, to be honest, because sometimes it's a slippery slope. That's the way I would put it. It's a slippery slope when it comes to the balance between how a kid is treated in school and how they are treated, like what the parents want. This is what is happening in the school. Time and time again, we've seen kids be abused in school, be bullied in school, be physically assaulted in schools, and your child goes one way and comes back the other way. So many parents are now very, very, for lack of a better word, extra sensitive when it comes to the well-being of their children in school. It's like, oh, I've sent my child to the school, but you can't touch my child, you can't beat my child, if my child this. It's a long list. But what would make a parent, a mother, storm the premises of a school with a knife? I mean, if you come somewhere with a knife, it means that you have intent to kill somebody or to hurt them, like in a really, really bad way. First of all, I don't think that there's any reason whatsoever why a parent should do this, but destroying a teacher's phone, stabbing the teacher, vandalizing parts of the school, first of all, we don't stand for violence here at all in any form, shape, or fashion. We don't stand for violence here. But what would make a parent do this? I think that, of course, they were able to hold her back, but what if she had killed somebody? Because anger is such a strong emotion that you are moved by anger, maybe because your child came to report to say, mommy, my teacher beats me, or mommy, my teacher something. What could make a parent do this? But yeah, Buki is here. Buki is the nation builder. She can help us.
No while now. She wants to kill somebody. When she stabs somebody and that person dies, I'm not saying that teacher. Alele, she will meet herself behind bars. Now, mother, because this one, because this is preempted. She thought about it, and she went with a knife. You understand? And she cannot even say she was out of her mind, because she was except if she gets when they treat her and they find out that there is a bit of madness, even if there is alcohol, that one, I'm sure that one will not work. At the end of the day, the child that she's trying to protect, she will not be able to mother that child, because she's behind bars for murder, and that's what anger does. It takes over your emotions. It takes over your your mental senses. You can't think right. And at the end of the day, one issue turn, you understand? Because I mean, I watched the clips and it was like, kilagwe kilaju. Thank
Yeah.
God the child did not die. You understand? There's something called I think it's the law of proportionality.
Mhm.
We always say that when there is a peaceful protest, like we talk about the Lekki toll gate. It was a peaceful protest, and before you know what was happening, the army came, and it was like, okay, it was not a violent one. Why would you now go call, the army? And even when the army is even coming, they give them what they call the ROE, I've forgotten what that is, man. Rules of engagement, the rules of engagement. And they will tell you, you only apply the appropriate force to the threat that you see. So if the child was beaten, does that mean you as a mother will now carry knife? And it's not just to carry knife, you are destroying properties
And stab the human
and,
beings.
and stab. You understand? So it's not proportional. You understand? I agree that somebody will say, "Oh, this is my child." Probably it took her 9 years or 10 years for the baby to come, and all that and all that. But I always say something. That decision you want to take, it takes a minute, but the consequence of that decision can take a lifetime.
Yeah.
So why don't you sit down and weigh the consequences and see if this decision is the best? What are the alternatives? She could have also come on social media to say, look at what they did to my child. Look at how they flogged my child. This is blah, 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 blah. And I know people will get up. But what she has done, because now I'm expecting a whole lot of issues to come out from this. One, she destroyed properties.
Yeah.
Two, she traumatized even the children because the children saw her with a knife. So the children will have been traumatized. And even the teachers, they can sue her for mental health. And then the big one, murder, stabbing. You understand? Meditating death, meditating murder. The experts, the laws will bring it up. By the time they bring this thing out, you will see that they have listed about 17 things. But what are we saying today? Let us now balance it. It is time for a reform from each school. I know the government is doing a whole lot, but can the school now begin to take more responsibility to reel out the laws or the rules that will bind a teacher and let it be clear to the parents that in this school, we punish because they're molders. They're molders. I know the government says, oh, do not beat, do not flog, but I believe there are other ways of curtailing, those exuberances, the children, they play tantrums. As for them, they might not know, but you will now have to correct them. I'm not talking about the discipline you have to give them at home, but in the school. The school is a place of discipline, right? Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I
The, the
can. Yeah,
school,
I
the
can.
school is a place of discipline. So if you fall out of line, there must be something that will make you fall back in line. So those
Mhm.
things have to be stated, and every teacher that is coming must know that in this school we don't flog, we don't do this, we don't do that. If you do this, you have flouted the law. These are the other places where you can discipline. You can send them to do this, you can send them to whatever, you can tell them whatever it is. I don't want to go into that. But hey, and if you have to beat, I don't know, but they say they should not flog. So let us not go to that area. At least if our boy is here now, she's an educationalist, so she will come tell us the rules that are for their own whatever.
Yeah.
So if that is it, then a teacher should not go out of line by beating. If the school has said we don't flog, you understand? If you probably fall out of line, they call your parent or whatever it is, right? Because I am tired of teachers getting angry and injuring children. I know what I said, injuring children, because they will flog. The other day, was it not when we talked about the fact that the eye got injured? Why? Upon what? Why? You understand? I believe there are other better ways of discipline. And then to now balance it up to this woman who just got emotionally angry and out of line by coming into the school, with a knife, stabbing, destroying properties. They should make her face the law.
Yeah.
They should make her face the law. She should go for jail for that. I'm telling you, she will now come and tell us this child that she's trying to protect, will she be there to take care of that child?
Mm-hmm.
She will not be. So there are better ways. I believe that she could have, normally people come on social media to talk and blah, blah, blah. Or she could have even gone to the police station to report her case. Oh, yes, to report her case. You understand? I mean, if you get a good lawyer, the good lawyer will know how to package the case and you face it. But I understand, that anger where Ushile for Momira Lupa and all that. And possibly she's even acting under alcohol. You understand? Because a right thinking person will not do what she did. Coming in short. So she was ready. Came in shorts. She was ready with a knife. For you to go to take a knife, out you running and back. Master Boleni and all that, but which is not good. So, but let's see the outcome of the case. Obviously, they have to charge her to court so that other parents will learn from it. Yes, and also the school. Every school now, because of the things we are going through. In fact, somebody was saying that we need to begin to have evaluations for teachers, particularly those that are teaching the children, the younger ones, because these ones they will always pull their tantrums. They are young, you understand? So what is the emotional balance that you must have, to help them out, and not you yourself get angry and beat them and injure them, But I'm waiting to hear what Ibn will say.
Thank you so much. Welcome. Ibn Abo, good morning. It's a wet morning this morning. How are you?
Good morning, beautiful ladies of Herlens, Lady Fumi, Lady Buki, and all the wonderful ladies out there. Good morning.
I feel like you're trying to gather your thoughts about what we're talking about, right?
I've gathered and over-gathered it, so...
Please go ahead. I think for me, everything that Buki said, very, very spot on. But this parent was not also thinking about their child. Because if your child has seen that you're brandishing a knife, and you're coming to hurt, which mouth do you want to use to scold that child when that child carries a stick to hit somebody? It could even be you.
What in conditioning?
That's really it. This thing is really is Buki Lara. That's how I can put it. But Ibn Aba, over to you as an educationist. What would make there are excesses? Let's call it spade. The excesses on the part of teachers and of parents. I have seen overbearing parents. I've seen them, and I'm just like, it's not that deep now. Like, what are you teaching your child? But we've also seen that sometimes teachers can be very, very excessive in discipline, in teacher in whatever, not just the teacher, the school, the principal. Sometimes when these kind of things happen, we also see that the school gathers together in arm to protect their own. But in this case, as an educationist, would like to hear your thoughts.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. You see, life is beautiful. But as human beings, we have made it so convoluted. And it is what it is, and it is what we get. What you mold is what you will get. You mold a box and think you're going to carry a circle. It is not possible. You see, let me look at the mother first. I think by now she should be feeling the heat of her actions. Now, you see, you cannot say because a child, even, I'm not going to discountenance whatever was done to that child. Even if, as we speak, the child is lying in the hospital, there is something we call decorum. And we know that we're not living in a jungle. We live in a country where we have laws. Laws that will be applied as and when due. So if you don't see negativity in your action or reactions, it will have implications. This action of hers, this action she displayed that I saw, has crossed from, complaint into potential criminal conduct. Take it or leave it. Because first and foremost, she carried a weapon to a school where we have children.
Yeah.
She created chaos, created panic, created fear, created everything in the hearts of these children. You carried a knife into a school, you were damaging property, you were causing panic. For me, this is threat to public safety. She created everything. I can imagine if I have a child in that school. I'm not going to think about what was done to a child, but I'm going to firstly judge her action first, because I'll begin to imagine the fear that she has put in the heart of my child. This action of hers amounted to breach of peace. It is clearly a very disorderly conduct. It was unlawful and unlawful interference with the school operations. So you see, we can go on and on and on and on, because a school setting is supposed to, be a safe place.
Yeah.
Child, or for every child. So what she has done is already trending for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Is she happy now? My question to her is, are you happy now? Whatever has been done to your child, have you gotten justice already? Because you forget that you could be charged for vandalism, for possession of weapon, threat to life, intimidation, everything. Because in law, provocation or emotional distress may interpret certain behavior, okay, but it does not automatically excuse violent or threatening conduct. So when we want to react to certain actions or certain things being done to our children, it has to be enclosed within decorum. If you do anything outside of decorum, you are not better than the people or the person you are fighting against. And there is something I want to quickly tell us. There is something that is called psychologists. We learned it so many years ago. They call it confirmation bias. And I see a lot of people displaying it. You see, confirmation bias is this human tendency to look for, to look for information that confirms your own pre-existing views. And a lot of parents, if you go through, when there's a report about a child being maltreated by the teacher or by a school, and you go through the comment section, you will see that some people will be saying, by now, the teacher has lost one eye. By now, the teacher is in the Igbobi hospital, orthopedic hospital, and all of that. So, people with confirmation bias they would buy into that because it aligns with their line of thought, with what they would have done if they were in the shoes of such a parent. And that is what I saw in this one when I saw the video. Me, they go no say they don't step on the wrong tail. Hey, they go no say, hey, this became get mama. But you forget that we have laws in Nigeria, that even when you are the one that has been offended, you still have to act within the ambit of the law. So whatever she gets, the heat of it, of her reaction, well, because every action of ours has poured water on whatever was done on our child, which is very bad. It's very, very bad. But let me put that aside. Let's go back to the schools. You see, we have a lot of problems in the schools. And the government, as far as I'm concerned, is very slow in acting on this matter. What am I saying? Buki mentioned evaluation for teachers, which is very correct. In any job that you have as we speak, you have to endeavor to keep training and retraining on that job so that you can get promoted and you can fit into whatever office you are promoted into. Nobody's going to say, see this one because of length of service, they don't promote her to one office where you know Sabi do anything there. So you have to keep updating and upgrading yourself in whatever profession you find yourself. Even as a teacher, you have to keep updating and upgrading yourself. So in so many schools, mostly in these private schools, they have, like, I don't know where it was Buki or Fumi that said excessive actions from the part of teachers. You get this mostly because a trained teacher would request for a certain salary. So some of these private schools rather would rather employ just somebody. Maybe somebody is a school cert holder, or maybe a fresh graduate who is desperately looking for a job. They will just employ this person because they will throw at that person any kind of salary, and the person will say, "I told her I'm bad." But these persons are not trained teachers. Because when you are a trained teacher, there are certain ways you will never behave. That is why, every time we tend to want to refer to those days, our teachers, this and that, because they were trained. A trained teacher knows how to handle a child in the classroom when this child is throwing tantrums. When you are trained, you know what to do. And when this child's behavior is getting beyond you, it is expected of you to report this matter to the school administrator. Whether you have a special administrator or you have the school headmaster, headmistress, or the principal. You don't take laws into your hands. You don't manhandle a child, because this child is in that school to learn. This child, every child in the school is at a formative age. So while this child is trying to learn from everything, from the parents, from the environment, from the school, you should play your role as a teacher to mold this child into a better person. That is why a teacher must be a very
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. We have a call. Hello, good morning.
Yes, good morning, ladies.
Good morning. What's your name?
This morning.
What's your name?
Is Benedicta.
Okay, hi. Oh, hi, Benedicta. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Good morning.
Hi, ladies. Good to hear you this morning. I want to come at it first from the angle that the above is coming in, the teachers, getting trained teachers and all. I agree totally with getting trained teachers. But it is not from the angle of the institutional maturity. So when you are in mature, but it has nothing to do with you have been trained to do this. So it is that you find and that it is not everything that they do that you come at them. Sometimes you look at it from the angle of, is this child being childish or is this child being stubborn? So when you look at it from either of those two angles, you'll be able to handle that child better. Most of these children come from the angle of being childish. So when they come to that, you have to know how to be able to handle them at that level. And it is not every time that you hit a child. In fact, I do not agree to hitting a child. That is why if you have been trained, you would have been told that, first of all, you need to learn the behavior of each of those children. In the first 2 weeks of being in school and in your class, you've got to understand what kind of a child is this? How do I handle this child? What kind of emotional stability does this child even have? Because they also have their issues from home. You need to learn, study the children the first 2 weeks, get to know them, get to know how to handle them, so that when they behave in a certain way, because you have been trained, the child, there's a way to handle the child. So handle them the way they should be handled based on their behavior. To the school with a knife, she has just done herself in, because even the child that she came to defend does not see her as a parent that loves and cares, but as a dangerous person to even live with in the house. She doesn't know the magnitude of what she has done. We are looking at it from the angle of the school. I am looking at it from the angle of the child that you have come to defend in school. Now that child is going to keep looking at it. Each time you pick a knife in the kitchen, that child is ready to run, because it sees you as a dangerous person to be with. She doesn't see herself at the end of the day. She needs to calm down. Calm down. I can bet that woman does not know her child well enough. That's why she feels to have to defend her child. I think she should bring this situation. I will never accept that. But I think all this comes from parents, first of all, because
I think the network, the rain is doing the most, but we got the gist of what she said, right? She agreed with, she's agreed with everything, but she's talking about it from the perspective of the child, that if the child is in the kitchen and with the parent and carries a knife, the child, the fear, the trauma, I actually agree, because a lot of times we don't even realize like the impact of the things that we do on our child. So I'm one to scare my children. I'm like, if I give you blow, that's what I say. And I realized that because I'm always saying, if I give you blow, every time I do like this, even when I'm trying to play with my kids and I just do like this, my child, she just ducks her head. And I'm like, but I'm not beating you now. Do I beat you that you want me to be beating, that you are ducking your head? And I realized that, that's something I might need to stop doing, because in her head, she's preparing for maybe me to hit her, and that was not even my intention in the first instance. But yeah, Ibn Abba, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. I didn't quite catch some of the things you said because the network was funny.
Yes.
I was able to pick one or two, and I was going there. I was going to talk about children being very impressionable. So let me quickly give you a gist. There was a time we were in a gathering, and this woman brought a little pretty girl. Everybody was, she was everybody's designer of the place. She was so pretty and everything, very cute, a toddler. So her dad's younger sister was now kind of playing rough with her. You know what she said to that aunt of hers? She said, "Hey, auntie, my friend bro." My friend bro. I was like, only for them to interpret that she was trying to say, "My friend blow." Do you understand? And for her to have said that, that must have been a regular sentence in the house. "My friend blow. My friend blow." That kind of thing, just like you said. So you see, sometimes parents don't understand that. They don't even understand how so impressionable children are, that you have to be mindful of your behavior around them. I was going to mention exactly what this last caller mentioned. And by the way, I have a baby girl who is Benedicta. So hi, Benedicta. So most times, while you are trying to defend this child, you are busy further escalating something in that child.
Yeah.
Whatever the child did that probably made a teacher to so badly in the name of discipline handled this child, you are further, it's like you are adding more muzzle to that thing, because your behavior has not displayed the fact that you are a good mother, and then you have something in you that you can give to the child in terms of good upbringing. I can imagine how this woman would display with a neighbor, how she would display with her husband, how she would display when she is being offended. So you see, as parents, there are so many things. Like they always say, like somebody was telling her son, her son got married and now they just gave birth. So she was now saying that now that you are a father, you have to keep some of this, your aggression.
Aggression.
And so you see, there are so many things that you have to just keep buried in the ground as a parent, because you are subtly training that child to be violent without you knowing. You think you are defending a child. Some parents, even when they have visitors, I'm digressing a bit, and when they have visitors, they have their children around in the living room, and they are discussing with this visitor or friend of theirs. And the next thing you see, a child will just jump into the conversation and start citing examples. And they'll say, I had been there before. I've seen such a thing before, and I had to caution the mother. Yes. Even the other day, remember, when we were coming back, when we were bringing back from school, and I was like, look, Mama, is not the answer.
Yeah.
Aside, and I said, what is this? This child, and she was saying, children, hey, their memory is sound. I said, memory will sound. I mean, you are training this child
to be an aproko, to not know boundaries.
Yes, exactly. There are boundaries.
Yeah.
We are not friends. We are parents. We were having we did not invite her into the discussion. As she just jumped into it, and you are saying that memories, she had a lot of money memory, good memory. She didn't get it, but I think later she had to come back after, not immediately, after like 2-3 years. She was not confirming what I told her. So a lot of time, parents don't even know what it means to be a parent. Parenting does not end with buying beautiful clothes, paying school fees, buying and pizza and all of that. No, it is, you are molding a human being that is going to impact the society. So if you don't mold this child well, then society is in trouble. So please, parents, it takes a lot to raise a child. Let us continue to learn. I am still learning. Even at this level, I'm still learning. I've not stopped learning to be a better parent. So you shouldn't, even when you have very little children. Please, and schools, stop employing untrained people as teachers. Because doing more harm to these children than good. I have been in a place where a teacher gathered the class, other pupils, to sing embarrassing song to shame a pupil in the class. Shame. Shame. You don't even know 1 + 1. Shame. And that was at the instance of the teacher. She made them to say that to that child.
All right.
So please, it's a lot. It's a lot, but the government needs to look into this. They are too laid back on it. We have so many private schools who have engaged untrained teachers. Those ones will just be shouting up and down, misbehaving in the class. They don't know what it means to train a child. They don't know what it means. There is something we call Montessori training. And it doesn't, in some other countries, they don't have it. But when you train a teacher properly, there is a course that is psychology in training of a teacher. And they train you how to handle a child, how to understand a child when the child has not even spoken yet. It's part of the training. But these people that you are employing were not trained like that. So they cannot understand when a child is unhappy and is manifesting his sadness in certain ways. You don't understand it. And then you want to say, oh, this child is bad, and you begin to beat or punish this child rather than helping this child. Please, government, we need your intervention in this. We don't talk. We can't be like, say, some school owners will say, are you jealous? I mean, because my school is growing, you understand? It's for them to realize that they are doing more harm than good, but they are concentrating on the money that is coming in, rather than how their pupils are turning out. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Buki, do you want to add something to this before we go? Because this matter, if no matter where we look at it up to down, I think one of the things that the caller said was that a lot of parents don't even know their children. You don't know what, like, don't know children. She also said some teachers don't know the child. So, for instance, you don't know if the child is being, how do you draw the line between, oh, the child is just being childish, or the child is being stubborn. Sometimes these teachers just take their frustrations out on the children, but the child is just being cheeky. My mom is an educationist as well, and sometimes when she's dealing with my child, she deals with my children from the perspective of how she got her training, how many Google years ago. And I'm like, Mommy, you can't do it that way. We were at a wedding over the weekend, and she was like, you're spoiling your child. I was like, Mommy, no. Like, I understand the strengths and weaknesses of my children. My son doesn't do well with unfamiliar spaces or unfamiliar people. If he goes into a space and he can't find one familiar person, he's very, very clingy. My mom's solution to that was that drop him, let him play. And I'm like, he's not going to play with anybody. He was clingy and cranky for the first maybe 4 hours at the wedding that we were at. You understand? And later he eased into it. So teachers don't even know that, okay, maybe the child, you don't even know what is going on at home with the child. If a child is already was bubbly and the child is no longer bubbly, is it that the child is being rude? Like, what are the things that schools need to put in place and training the child is even beyond, training the teacher is beyond, this how to teach, but how to have interactions with the children in the class. But yeah, Buki, let's hear you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much. I like the dimension that we are going. I mean, even if it's just this that we are discussing, it should be good. And I hope the stakeholders, and when I talk about the stakeholders, I mean all the stakeholders, will get one or two things and run with it. The stakeholders that we're talking about the parents, the guardians, the PTA, right? The PTA, and of course the government. And the government cuts across federal, state, even local governments, right? While Ibunabo was talking, it just dawned on me that we need to push, or we need to plead the case. Peradventure, they are not looking at it. The government, that if you must teach in a primary school, you must have this certificate, this certificate. One of the certificates, I'm sure Ibunabo will help me out, will be child psychology. Because from the age of 3, they're supposed to enter 3 to probably 9 or thereabout, yes, 8 or whatever. It's critical in their lives, very, very critical. And how you handle them matters. And I know there is a course around that, early childhood psychology and things like that. They must be made to go through it. If you want to teach in advanced countries, that is what they do.
Yeah.
Because they know that not everybody knows how to handle children. You just mentioned it. You should be able to observe. You should be able to be a solution provider, not damage the person. Possibly the child has been bullied at home, and then the child comes into the school and you are now even bullying the child. You are not even able to recognize that, okay, this is a vessel that has been damaged. I can actually make this vessel, be whole, right? So I am advocating today that they should be made to go through that early childhood days. It should be something that is compulsory, and they should make every school adhere to it, that you cannot take in a teacher if they don't go through this and this and this. Let it be at their own. The government can now subsidize. They can now subsidize that, because if you say you are not going to train your children or train your citizens, what you are telling us is that you are not out for capacity building. And if you're not out for capacity building, the graduates, because the foundation matters. at the end of the day, are these not the leaders that are going to build the nation when they don't have nothing? So the foundation is big. You know, the Bible also, of course, don't say I'm a pastor, but it says if the foundations are destroyed, what can the righteous do? You have to now rebuild, you have to go back to the foundation, break it down, and now lay it again. And that's what we are trying to do now for education. I want to admonish us that anybody who is listening that can press that should, and we will also keep talking about it, that because it's key. Then even when they now go to do inspections, they must request that they want to go through the files of these teachers. If they don't see it, and let them not bring Oluwole, because when they're now developing this thing, they must develop in such a way that they can actually press the computer. You know, you must always have a code. You must have a number. So they come in there and they press it. If it's not there, then they have the right to call the police to arrest the person because it's a fake certificate. All of this, they should see it that they are laying foundation for the future leaders in the country. If they see it from that angle, whatever they do now, they see that it's a return on investment they will have. They are investing in the lives of these children because a whole lot of things have happened. In those days, it was saying, now a whole lot of people are going through a whole lot of issues. Teacher's job, you know, then is a calling. Now, if you don't have anything to do, you're a teacher, you that you have been at home for how many years, you understand? And they say, yeah, come and teach primary school, and they will give you 30K. You will take it. But meanwhile, you're a frustrated person. That is not where you're supposed to be. Everybody is wired in one way, you know, to be productive, but you must be in the right environment. But they can be trained. And that is why I'm talking about that process. You know, that if you want to be a teacher, particularly for that age, you must go through this. That's my own. But however, before the government does this, we have a responsibility as parents to do, because we are the first teacher that God, you know, those children. Let us not abandon our children. I was sorry, because I can see everyone wants to chip in. I was at a seminar yesterday by our alumni, you know, the Institute for National Transition, and the topic was raising excellent children without pressure. Raising excellent children without pressure. And all the facilitators, you know, said wonderful things, you know, tools that parents can actually use in the 21st century. So a parent now that you really want to raise excellent children, you must have the tools. You cannot be using the tools of 50 years ago. How our grandmother raised our mothers.
Yeah.
That's raised us. A lot of things have changed. Do you understand? Because in our own days, you don't have a phone, you don't have a laptop. You understand?
Not so much distractions.
Not so much distraction. And most children that go to a particular school, they have the same value system. You understand? It might not be 100%, right? But in this day and age, everybody, the whole thing, people just come from anywhere. You understand? You know, all value system is broken. Everybody just mixed together. So you need to know as a parent that what is the kind of human being I want to raise? Because you are releasing these people into the society. So what is that kind of human being I want to raise? So you start in the home. You don't tell maybe they're going to school. After all, I'm paying the teachers to do what? To raise your own child? You lay the foundation for your own children. You know, you get to know them, you get to know what they do, you know, their vices, you know, and things like that, and you correct it. And when they come back from school, even if the teacher beats or something, calm your child down and find out what did you do. With the eye that you know your son. You know, there's a parent who says, my son, I know he's always the one that is always looking for trouble. So when he comes back from school, he's okay, I've heard. What did you do? Okay. And then he will now get the boy to go to the school and do what? Apologize, because he knows the child. He says, I know. You understand? But what she was trying to do was to correct the child. That
The child.
you don't come back and say somebody beat you, because you did something first. And then she will find out and say, his mom is true. I was the one that did it first. I hid his bag. Why did you do that? You understand? So, well, thank you very much. Ibnaba wants to say thank you.
Thank you. Ibnaba, you want to say something before we go?
Yes. I was just going to add, that was a beautiful one, Buki. I was just going to add that, you know, we mentioned special training and all of that. And I want to assure you that all those things are in place. Government have put in place everything that should work for every school, whether you are private or you're public.
Right.
But because of, you know, certain clandestine activities on the part of some private schools, so they tend to do what is not right. And something I've always told all these inspectors is that you don't announce to a school you are coming. Because even imagine me, maybe I'm doing nonsense, I know that I'm doing rubbish in my school, and you've already told me you are coming. I will set things, right things in motion. So when you come, you see what, so it's very unrealistic when you already inform the schools that you are coming. You give, there's a timetable. On Monday we are going to Fumi school. On Tuesday we are going to Buki school. On Wednesday we are going to Ibinabo school. So we already know. So we are ready. We know what we are doing. We know that we are not doing some things right. So we'll put it. I have seen a place where a school that didn't have, they only had 2 trained teachers. The others were just random people who are coming to teach in the school. So what they did was they went to a school that had trained teachers and brought them into that school to stand in as teachers. Yes. But you know what happened? One of the inspectors, whether now God sure I'm been by himself, he now decided to went to the kindergarten class where they had this sweet looking Montessori teacher and another teacher. So that one stood in as an assistant teacher. The real teacher was not like the assistant teacher. All of this deception was unfolded when this woman just felt, okay, let me even talk with, could you please excuse us? She told the teachers, and then she started addressing the children that, okay, so you have 2 teachers. Some said yes, some said no. You know children now. That was how she got to know that the other teacher wasn't actually their class teacher.
My God.
Just that day, she came in that day. That was how some of the Ashuri became known to the inspectors. So you have to go the extra mile. You know what is going on in Nigeria. You know how people could see. So you have to be ahead of this. If not, you will never get it right. And I want to tell you that before you can teach between, you know, we have the crèche, you have the kindergarten, we have the lower primary, we have the upper primary. Before you can teach in any of these sections, you have to have gone through a study they call early childhood education. It teaches you, and even there are other courses. There is even a special education training, whereby even a parent probably did not understand that child has certain, you know, issues, maybe mentally or something, but it's not very obvious. And they enroll that child in a regular school. As a specially trained teacher, you would quickly detect that this child needs special teachers, not the regular teachers.
Yeah. Some schools do that, yeah.
The school my children attended in their primary school. One of my children, my daughter, she was very brilliant, but she was not a fast writer. So they brought a teacher who was always, there was a time she hit my child, and my child come home. She was very hot. What is wrong with you? What is the problem? All she could say was, Miss Lagbaja hit my head, and all her body was hot. In fact, I was so angry, but I had to contain my anger. So I went to the school the next morning. I went to see her first, and I made sure that she gave me the reason for hitting my child. And I told her, do you know what I can do at this moment? So I left her in the class. I went to the school administrator and I complained to her. That one, after scolding her, that one I told her that if this person writes a letter, you will lose this job this moment. I said, that's not even the issue. Now the issue is, it doesn't have to be me. It's all about her. How does she handle children in the class?
Yeah.
Actually, my child called, but she said because she's brilliant, but she's slow. Is that why
we have to even go, and that's the point. Like we've said the same thing in different ways. Like that's the point. The teachers, do they even know the strengths and weaknesses, the peculiarities of each child? But oh well, but we have to go. So sorry to cut you. We have ads right up. On that note, thank you so much, ladies, for coming on the program today. I feel like this topic is something that we should be taking in bits and pieces, because the time that we have is not even enough, to really hash it out. But again, thank you. Catch you same time tomorrow at 9:05 for another edition of Herlens. Up next is Radio Doctor. Don't go anywhere.